We welcome to the show Carl St Clair. So how you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm hanging in there and trying to make the best out of what we've got at the moment.
So tell us, when did you first get into music?
Oh, at an early age, Chris, very early age from school, in the early times of school. To be precise on the time right now, it's quite young. Around about, I would say, I've always been in music, Chris, because where I was born and grew up in Kingston in Jamaica, we had, I was living literally on top of what we would call a dance hall, where they always have weekends, they have dances and things like that. So we were always surrounded by music, and like majority of my family, like my dad, wasn't a professional musician, but he could have played a guitar. And other members of the family were musically minded. So music was always instilled in me from a young age.
I hear you have a new album out. Can you tell us about it?
Right. Yes, the album is out. It's not yet released. The title, it's called Elevation. It's got 17 tracks on it. And at this present time, I'm in the process of getting some promotion, some very good promotion on it, before I actually decide when I'm going to release it. I'm getting a good vibes from it at this present time because it's been passed around to some of the local radio stations, and they've been playing it. And I'm getting a good buzz off it. I also have it on the internet, on a radio station on there, and we keep getting a lot of requests for tracks from the album. So the album is ready to go. I'm just trying to make sure that I get quite some good publicity on it before I actually set a date to say it's officially launched. What I would like to do, whether it comes to pass or not, I would really love to be able to, on the date when it's released, I would like to see if I could get have a function so that fans and other people could come in and enjoy the launch of the album. But I will keep you informed on that.
So tell us about the album then. Is it cover songs and your own songs?
Yes, I've done some of my songs. The reason why majority of it is cover, and the reason for that is a few years ago I came up with the idea that I wanted to do a tribute album to Desmond, because I was fortunate and enough to be a part of the Desmond Dekker and the Aces group. So what I was hoping to do was to do a tribute album to him. But things didn't work out as I had hoped it would have gone. So I decided, I was due an album, because the last time I did an album was some 5-6 years ago. However, I did select some tracks, and I made sure that I selected some of the tracks that we originally did while we was with Desmond Dekker. So on that album, there is a few tracks that was done by Desmond Dekker and the Aces in the early part. So I've just redone them and, add them to the album. The album, basically, what I was hoping for on releasing an album, I was just hoping, which I hope I have achieved, the fact that there is, at this present time, there is a lot of different things happening in the world around us and, everyday life. Now, some of the tracks that I've selected from Desmond, they have meanings. if you listen to the lyrics of some of the tracks that's been recorded, there are meanings to it. There are, it's saying something, and those tracks were recorded years ago.
Yeah.
So I just decided that, you know what, so much of what is going on today is like from this particular track. Maybe it's from Desmond. I've also included some tracks from Jimmy Cliff, because once again, Jimmy Cliff was an artist that we worked quite a lot alongside, and he's somebody that I know personally. And there are some tracks that he's done, which is not only giving you a message, but it's telling you a story. So yes, the album is 17 tracks. I've got a couple of tracks on there which I personally wrote, and I've got so many tracks unfinished. And when I really decided that yes, I was going to do an album for me, I did not have the time to sit down and put them together. So I just had to go with the tracks that were nagging at me like a toothache, if you get my meaning.
Yeah, well, they're great songs, so in a way, it's a great way to do an album, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I had to make a list and then shortfall my list into however many tracks I wanted to put on the album. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the outcome of it. And not only happy with it, I'm getting a good buzz from the people who have listened to it. The musicians are very, they like the tracks that I selected. And it was fun recording it. We had a lovely time recording that album. And I've got some of the best musicians on there.
So tell us, what was it like to work with Desmond Dekker?
Well, like everybody else, it's you have your good days and you have your bad days, or you have your good time and your bad time. He was a lovely person, but easily led, if you understand my meaning, and he would listen to the wrong people at most of the time, because there were lots of things that went on without bad-mouthing him. He's not here to defend himself, and he's my brother. I love him to death, But there were things that went on during the time of the group, and we would sit down as a unit and we would try and discuss it, and he just wouldn't listen to us as, his other half. He would go with other people, and then when things go wrong, he expects you to support him and back him up and comfort him and all that, and you say, well, we told you. But other than that, he was a very nice guy. He was creative. Desmond, to me, was way ahead of his time. Some of Desmond's writing was way ahead of him. Hence the reason why I've chosen to select some of the tracks to record today.
Yeah.
You see? But he was a lovely guy. We worked well. We toured the world. I'm more than grateful that I was able to, and privileged to be a part of that unit, because some of the countries that I had visited, I would not, as a normal person, had spent my money to go there, i.e., if I can just give you one of, several, Russia, I would not have really spent my money to go to Russia, because it's not a country that really,
You don't think of going there, would you?
No, and we were fortunate and privileged to work in Russia. We did a radio show and a radio appearance over there, interview over there. We did television show, and we did a live performance in Russia. And there's other places that we've traveled, and we've worked with some of the biggest and the best in the music world. So being a part of the Desmond Dekker Aces, it was exciting. It was a thrill. It was nice being a part of that.
Yeah. I mean, this question, it must be hard to choose, but if you could choose out of all of Desmond's songs, which is the one you love the best?
You've now said exactly what. They're all nice in their own way, but if I'm honest with you, Israelites is a nice track, very nice track, because that is one of the biggest of the Desmond Dekker and the Aces. 007 is another nice one. It's very hard to choose.
It is, yeah.
Very, very hard to choose, because he's written some lovely tracks, some good tracks. But I would say Israelites, not because it was number one in so many countries around the world, but I have to say Israelites at this time, because we've been questioned so many times of, different things on Israelites, even 007 and things like that. But I would say Israelites.
Great songs never die, do they?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And he was a unique singer, and he was also, not only was he unique, he was a brilliant artist on stage. He had his ways and of doing things, and he was fun. It was fun. He was a good artist. Bob Marley was another creative masterpiece out of Jamaica. I loved Bob's style. I loved working with Bob, which we did. I loved Bob's personality and his attitude toward people. And, the list just go on. So in the reggae world, I would say Bob. In the soul part of it, I would have to say one of my favorite, and I'm scraping here, would have been the late Luther Vandross.
Oh, he was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah, I would say the late Luther Vandross. And the female side, but I would like to say Gladys Knight, but I love Whitney Houston. But Gladys also is a lovely person to be around and to work with. Once again, we were fortunate and privileged to tour with Gladys Knight here in the UK I think it was the late 70s. We did a UK tour with her in all the top rank. Those days we had the top rank cinemas.
Oh, great.
So we toured with Gladys Knight on the Pips here in the UK, in all the top rank cinemas up and down the country. So Gladys Knight is one of my favorite in the female, but Luther Vandross in the male side of the soul. But there are so many good singers and artists out there, it's very hard to choose.
That's the thing, though. Whenever I interview reggae singers or soul singers, they either say, I also like, soul singers, or I like reggae singers. It seems to cross well, doesn't it, reggae and soul?
Yes, because, you see, majority of I can't talk for everybody else, but when I initially started off as a child, I used to model myself on the American singers, like the Temptations and people like that. Yeah, most of the reggae singers, from what I remember growing up in Jamaica, or even groups, they modeled themselves from the American groups and American singers. I used to love Otis Redding and people like that. So as a child growing up, I used to sing the Otis Redding songs. When I was in school, my first competition or first time on stage was one day me and a school friend decided that we wanted to go to a theater down in Kingston where they were having a talent show. And we sort of left school the evening and we went there. And after, a bit of a hustle and a bustle, and because you were young, they didn't want to sort of let you in anyway. We managed to get inside the venue, and we ran up on the stage, and when they called, for the next artist, and we went up there and we sang the Chain Gang, the Sam Cooke Chain Gang song, then we weren't told at the time whether we were accepted or not. All the person that was running the show, all he said was next. And so we just came off. And at the end of the show, they selected who they had chosen. So we were chosen to go back. That was just the audition. We were chosen to go back for the show on the particular night. However, we went back and we came second, which was years ago, and what we got, was we were like millionaires. Now that prompted me a little bit faster to hold on to the music and to do music. So that's where I started. But as I said, growing up where I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, I was surrounded with music and sound systems and things like that. So I just used to model. I used to just get the hairbrush or a piece of stick or whatever and just pretend that I'm singing, and I'm performing on stage. So music has always been in me.
That's the thing about in Kingston, though, isn't it? I mean, so many artists have come from there. From
Kingston, yeah. Well, even if they have not come from Kingston, they end up in Kingston because, most of them, not all of them are born and grew up in Kingston. Some are from the country. And, Kingston is like the place to be if you want to be in music. You have to come to Kingston, i.e. you have to either come to Beverly Record or you have to come to Studio One or Channel One or Dynamic or, which is in Kingston. So, yes, most of them ended up in Kingston. But there's a lot of groups that, and artists that come out of Jamaica, as you know.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
No worries. And, send me your album and I'll get it on the air.
I will do that. And thanks once again. And to all the listeners, it's Meridian?
Yeah, Meridian FM.
Meridian FM. Big shout to all the listeners on Meridian FM.